Hello, welcome to Study Abroad Week 2020. Today we're presenting on the Oxford program. My name is David Younger. I am the program director for the Oxford program, and with me today are several returnees from the Oxford program as well. I'll let them introduce themselves and then we'll jump right into program details.
Great, I'll go first. I'm Kyle. I'm a senior and I studied math at Oxford and Oriel College last year.
Hi, my name's Mika and I studied economics at New College.
And I'm Sarah Young, and I studied chemistry at New College as well.
So let's talk about some of the details of the program. The program is based in Oxford, which is just a short train ride away from London, which you can see in the picture there. The cohort size is small. We accept no more than 4 Notre Dame students every year on this program. The program is also limited to certain majors as well. Program type is a direct enroll with New and Oriel College, where this basically means that you will be enrolling in the university directly and taking courses alongside or taking tutorials alongside students of Oxford who are getting their degree there, as well as other potentially visiting students. One of the things we're going to talk about today is the tutorial system. It's a unique system that is among all of our study abroad programs, only Oxford offers it. We're going to talk a little bit about eligibility right now. The eligibility for the program is a 3.8 GPA. You need to have completed 5 courses within your major or the discipline that you plan on studying at Oxford by the end of your sophomore year, likely this year for anybody watching this. You need to have 2 academic references, as well as submit a 6 to 8 page paper as a writing sample. And finally, there will also be a faculty interview among the top candidates for this particular program. The program calendar is an interesting one. Students can only apply for Oxford for the full academic year. The academic year does span different months than the semester or academic year at Notre Dame might, and there are 3 terms as they operate on the trimester. So Michaelmas term is generally from mid-October to mid-December. Then you have several weeks of break. You'll have a Hilary term, which is early spring from mid-January to mid-March, more or less. And then Trinity term, the 3rd term of the year, and that's usually mid or late April to mid or late June. Obviously, the specific dates will depend on year by year, but that's the general calendar you can expect. So let's talk a little bit about the tutorial system. Students will enroll in classes in their hosting department within their college at Oxford. Generally, this means that if you are studying what you're admitted to the University of Oxford for, or your specific college for, is the only thing you are going to study. Mika talked about studying economics. She only took economics classes while she was there. Kyle talked about math and Sarah Young about chemistry. They only took math and chemistry courses while they were there, with very rare exception. So we'll have them talk about that in a moment. But for the tutorials, you're looking at a 1-to-1 to a 4-to-1 student-to-tutor ratio within all these tutorials. So as they, I'm sure, will talk about, there's really nowhere to hide in the back of a classroom and things along that line. But they'll talk about what their experience was. If you're a science student or an engineering student, you'll also have general lectures that usually span across the colleges. And so a number of students in the various different colleges will be in a big classroom setting, but you'll still have tutorials and things along that line. Depending upon the curriculum that you have, what your major is, that is, you will either be writing a lot of papers or perhaps completing problem sets. And there's a thing called collections that start at the beginning of every term. Again, the returnees will talk about that in just a moment. More about the tutorial system is that generally tutorials are the case rather than traditional classes for arts and letters students. So you should have class as you're used to understanding it here at Notre Dame with no more than, say, 3 or 4 of your peers and the tutor themselves. With engineering and science, generally you're going to you can expect to earn up to 30 credits or even possibly more, depending upon what your discipline is. And of course, that conversation will happen between you and your DUS. Kyle, can you talk a little bit about what your experience is like at Oriel, especially as a math student?
Yeah, so the math program is a little bit different than the humanities programs, where you will take lectures sort of similar to the kind of thing you might do at Notre Dame, albeit with many more students usually. And you go over the problem sheets and the tutorials instead of essays. So they have problem sheets associated with them, usually either 4 or 8 for each term. And then you complete the problem sheet and go over every problem solution meticulously with your tutor, but in a small group of, maybe 2 to 1 or up to 4 to 1. And then these are all in preparation of the collections, which I'll talk about for a little bit here, which are kind of like exams for the Oxford normal students. They're mock exams because they don't take their exams until the very end of the year. But for us visiting students, they're very much real exams. So you sit in the dining hall and take an exam that's been pre-composed, that you've been preparing for throughout the term, after the break that comes between the term that you took the class and the next term. So you're intended to study hard over the breaks and be prepared for that exam right when you get back. That's about it for what's special about the math program, and I'll pass it off to other people, and they can talk about their disciplines.
So yeah, for New College in economics, it's a combination of both essays and problem sets. So some weeks I would have to do a problem set, and then other weeks I'd be expected to do an essay. And very similar to what Kyle said, we had collections after Michaelmas and Hillary term, and you just have to take it in the dining hall. And it's generally like an exam that they've previously taken and given to the students last year.
Yeah, for chemistry, it's almost exactly the same as math, where we have cheat sheets pretty almost like every single week, but for different tutors. For chemistry, we have only 3 tutors the entire year. So I was with the same 3 people for the entire time I was there, and I had collections at the end of each break. And I also took the end of the year exam, but it wasn't included in my final score.
Seryong, I know because as a chemistry student, you also had labs. Can you talk a little bit about what that experience was like?
Yeah, labs are kind of crazy. Basically, they go from 11 to 6 p.m. on Monday, Tuesdays. But there's also, it overlaps with some supplementary courses that you can take as a chemistry major. So I took the philosophy of science while I was there, and that meant once a week I'd had to drop out of the lab for about an hour or so to go to my class, then come back. But it's very self-guided. They kind of just leave you to do what you want as long as you complete the experiment. But it's very chill. It's just a very long session.
Thank you for talking about that. As they've talked about, they were in different colleges while they were there. We had New College and Oriel College. The housing is different. The meals are different within the two. As you can see, they're both identifying as the same here, but they are very different experiences. I'll let Kyle talk about what his experience with Oriel was like, and then we will move to Mika and Seryong to talk about New College.
Yeah, great. So I'll start with housing and then talk about the meals afterwards. One difference about Oxford, which I think you'd all appreciate, is that everyone at Oxford gets a single, and the single rooms are very spacious. So I was living in a room by myself that was about the size of a Notre Dame Dunkin' double. So that's always great. And most of the rooms also have their own bathroom in the unit, except I personally had to share with my neighbor, but it wasn't that bad. They also provide meals in a little different way than Notre Dame does, where they have a sort of a regimented meal schedule. So there are 4 meals a day. There's a breakfast, a lunch, an informal dinner, and a formal dinner. And you can pay for those as you go. The breakfast and lunch are, pretty standard. The informal dinner is more of just a pop in. You pick up your meal that they've prepared and you eat it. And then the formal dinner, you have to wear a dining jacket, a tie, or some formal attire if you're a girl, with your gown on, and profess grace in Latin beforehand and get your dinner served to you. So you have all those opportunities. I typically ate breakfast in hall every day, as they say, and then made lunch or cooked lunch and then cooked dinner every day. So yeah, you do have access to a kitchen, and the facilities in Oriel are generally pretty good. But I know that the rooms are a little bit different, and the way it works in New is a little bit different. So I'll pass it off to Micah and Seryong to talk about that.
Yeah, so at New, we also got our own rooms. And so I was lucky I actually got my own bathroom. So it was really nice. And we also even have like scouts that come in every week and they clean your room essentially. And then they take out your trash, which is really different from the system here. And then at New, we're actually like opted in for dinner. So like we generally ate dinner in hall. And the same thing, we had informal and formal hall for dinner. But a nice thing about New was that for formal hall, you actually could just wear whatever you wanted and just had to put the gown over. So I would come from rowing practice and I would just put a gown over and it was okay.
Yeah, I had a single room, but I shared a bathroom with 3 other people on my floor. But otherwise, yeah, meals are good because honestly, my favorite part about Oxford are the formals. They're a lot of fun, and the food is they serve you food, so it's a really fun experience.
So let's talk about some of those experiences within the hall. Life in Oxford. Obviously, we have the Oxford Union, which some of you can hopefully talk about. I know it was just mentioned with the college balls and parties. Can you guys speak to what your experiences were with general student life in Oxford?
Yeah, sure. I'll go first. So I actually had the opportunity of playing on the university lacrosse team. So I played with the Blues and all of their varsity and all of their university matches and played in the varsity match against Cambridge. So that was a great chance to connect with the student body that from all across the colleges, and that's totally open to you as a visiting student. You can play on the university teams with some restrictions on the Cambridge match. Some sports may let you play and some might not, but you generally have access to pretty much everything a normal student would. So that was a really cool experience. I also did college rowing, which is really big in Oriel. We're the best rowing college on campus, obviously. So that was a great experience, and I got to really connect with both the college students and the university students getting involved in these programs.
We were both on the rowing team at New College, which was also really fun. But the weather was really terrible for pretty much the entire year, so we were basically never in the water. So we'd always be in the weight rooms.
Yeah, and you just get really great at erging, so that's something.
Yeah, but otherwise, I was pretty close to the other chemists at New, so they had a lot of events within just chemistry at New College. So we had like a chemistry dinner and chemistry crew dates.
Yeah, and I guess like a nice thing for economics was that a lot of our work was given ahead of time, so you could schedule basically your week around the work you need to submit. And so I was able to travel. I watched a lot of plays in London. I had friends visiting, and it's a great chance to just explore and just see, the surrounding areas.
Did any of you participate in the Oxford Union while you were there, or can you talk what that experience is like?
Yeah, I can. So I went to a talk by Guido van Rossum, who is the inventor of the Python programming language, which was really cool. I mean, he's a huge celebrity in the world of computer science, and pretty much every week they have a big name like that in whatever discipline come and speak. If you're not a member, you have to find someone who is a member of the union to sort of like bring you in. And it's this really big historic like debate hall where the president of the union hosts these really cool speakers and asks them questions, and they open it up to the audience afterwards. So it was really cool for me, for example, to listen to the story of Python, which is this revolutionary programming language, from the person who invented it. So that's a really cool opportunity. It's pretty unique to Oxford.
Did any of you get to travel extensively throughout the rest of Europe? And if so, what did that look like? Did it travel during the term, as it were, or did you travel between the terms? Can you talk a little bit about what that experience was like?
Yeah, I went on a big Europe trip for the Christmas break. So I basically, right after my last class, flew out and went immediately to Rome. And I came back to Oxford. So
oh, there you are. I was going to say, I think we lost your audio because of the wind there for a moment.
So I traveled basically for the entire Christmas break and didn't come back to Oxford until 4 days before my first collection. So it's really doable, I think, to travel during the breaks. I know that Felipe traveled during term. He went to Spain, I think, for a week.
And he went to France as well.
So if you really manage your time, you can travel between.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely doable. I mean, the only reason why I didn't go past the nearby areas was just because of rowing commitments in the beginning. But if you schedule things well, you definitely can travel.
Yeah.
Great.
I also went on a ski trip, a university-sponsored ski trip that happens every year. It's called the Varsity Ski Trip, and basically Oxford and Cambridge rent out like a whole ski hill, and then it's just a bunch of students in the French Alps skiing. So that was really fun, and I got to stop in France on the way back. Unfortunately, my big Europe trip in the other break got canceled because of coronavirus, but I did have that opportunity, which was really cool, and I encourage anyone else to do it. It was a great time.
Great. Thank you all for their contributions here. Hopefully we've caught your interest on the Oxford program. One thing I do want to draw special attention to for the Oxford program is the earlier deadline. All of our programs have a deadline of November 1st with the exception of Oxford. The Oxford deadline will be October 10th. Part of that is because of the timeline required by either or both of the colleges at Oxford. So if we've caught your interest on this program, please visit us at studyabroad.nd.edu, select the programs page and scroll down to Oxford. Click through and you'll find a lot more information than what we just talked about today. And you'll also find the application there. You'll log in with your NetID and password and start the application. One thing I do want to draw your attention to as well is if you do apply to Oxford and another program, be sure to list Oxford when it comes time to rank in November. List Oxford as your second choice program. Anybody who puts Oxford down and completes an application for Oxford will receive full consideration for the Oxford program. The reason why we have you identified as your second choice program is because how competitive this program can be. We want to make sure that you aren't losing a possibility of studying abroad overall in another program that is equally of interest to you. So please feel free to click through and find out more information. Finally, I'm going to put our contact information down. Again, my name is David Younger. My information is there. Also available through studyabroad.nd.edu is a place where you can schedule a Zoom appointment with me one-on-one, and we can talk about the program if that's of interest to you. I'm also putting down Kyle and Mika and Seryong's information here. They would love to hear from you with any questions that you have, either about life within the specific college that they were in, or if you're the same major and what that experience was like too. Finally, we have social media information on there. Please do follow us. A lot of important information gets announced. We've been doing stories all week this week as part of Study Abroad Week that give information about all of our different programs. So make sure you follow us on social as well. With that, we're going to close the video, and I appreciate all of you who have been able to watch. Please do reach out to us with any questions that you have.